How do? Watch the birdie. Hi, I'm Chris. Welcome to King Bespoke Creations. Today we're going to make a birdhouse. Really simple. You just need a 1.3 meter length of plank, a saw, a drill, some screws, and it's dead easy. Let's just jump in and see how it's done. Right, so like we said, we've got a 1.3 meter long plank. This is 150 millimeters wide, available at any local DIY store. At the end of this video, I'll put on the screen the cut list, the dimensions of each of these cuts that we're going to make, and I'll leave it on the screen. Take a little screenshot, and then you can go into your workshop and use that as a guide after watching the video to see how it's done. So the first measurements are going to be for the sides. Now the sides have a sloping top to them. So on one side we're going to measure 250 millimeters, and on the other side we're going to measure just 200 and mark those off. Now if you have one of these, it's going to be very useful. If you don't, you can still make these and they still work, measuring each time. But having this, we can then come and set this to that angle, which it's not quite there, like that. So that not only helps us just to draw the line across there, but it also means we can then make, if we're doing multiples of these, we've got the angle set, so we only need to measure down one side. We're also going to use this on the backboard as well, so quite a useful thing to have. So we've done that, we've measured down this side, so that angle creates the slope for that piece. It also creates the slope for this piece. So along this front edge here, that needs to match that distance there, so that's 200. So again, if we just go up to that line, there's the 200 mil, and we'll just straight across with that one. Then we have the front panel, which is 200. Like that. Then we have the roof, which is a little bit longer at 210. This is because it's got a little bit of an overlap on the front to give the bird some shelter as it stands in the hole. And then we're going to have, and then we want the backboard, which is 350, going up to there, marking off like that. And then this last little section along here is the base of the box. So the small section is square at the bottom. This backboard is going to have a slope at the top to help water to run off so it doesn't rot as quickly. So I'm going to use this angled piece that we marked off from the sides to go from the top of there down. So that's going to work that way on. That also gives us the slope for the top of this section, which is the roof panel, which is going to butt up, and that angle is going to be perfect for it. Everything else for now, we're just going to work straight across each one. Now for the angled cut, much easier to tilt the board so you're still cutting down in a nice straight line down, rather than having the board flat and you trying to saw at an angle. So here's our backboard with the sloped top, and what we're going to do is come down about 1.5 inches from the top peak to give us about there. I'm just going to draw a line across that. Then we can take our roofing board, which has the same slope on it, because that roof is going to fit like that. So what I'm doing here is pushing the top of this right up to that pencil line, and just holding that at the angle that's set, and with a sharp pencil underneath running that across. And there we go. And what we're going to do now is create a little recess in here for this roof section to sit in. So using this same angle that we've got all the way through, I'm going to mark off there, and same on that one, and then we can do the same on the other side. And I'm just going to use a pencil finger line to go that deep. Now across each of those pencil lines, I'm just going to put a score line with a sharp knife. Just a Stanley blade will do.
And same on that one. Okay.
I'm going to take a chisel and just push into that score line. And once you've chipped up that sections like that, all we need to do is just flick that away with the thumb. Now what that line gives us is a place to put the saw. So we can just start at that end, and then I'm going to do the same at this end. And then meet the two together. Now once we have that cut established like that, I'm then just going to tilt the saw this way to match the angle that we drew on the sides here. So I'm pretty much down to the line on this side. I'm not on this side yet. Okay, now what's very tempting at this point is to then start tilting the saw up. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to pull with my little finger and push with this top part, trying to tilt and put pressure on that tip without lifting this out. One cut, and then repeat the same thing on this one. And now with both of those lines cut down to the right depth, I'm just going to use the chisel halfway down the depth to begin with. Don't go all the way through to the other side. So now I'm going down to the full depth that we marked off. Now the reason I don't want to go all the way through is because this edge will blow out if I come at it from this side. So we're just going to turn the piece around. We'll try that piece in there. There we go. So that's going to fit. That's going to go on there. And then these angled pieces come in and hold that like that. Right, now that we've cut the groove for the top piece, we can just put that to one side for now. So now all we're going to do is attach the side sections, because we now have the perfect height for these to be measured off to. I'm going to screw them in from the underside, and I'm going to put a bead of wood glue along the edge as well. Make sure it's exterior grade wood glue, that it's suitable for outdoor use. Not so much to use as a sticking purpose, but to actually just give it a bit of a seal so it doesn't even get little drafts inside there. Now, two things need to happen to this front panel. One of them is it needs that same angle trimming off at the top, and then we obviously need a hole in the middle. Now the hole in the middle wants to be between 30-35 millimeters in diameter. A good Forstner bit is the easiest way to do that. So all we've got left to do now is to fit the base unit. So we've got the strip that's left over. It might need a little bit of fitting for it to be going in nicely. So that's not too bad, it's just a little bit snug at the top. So all I'm going to do is just take a rasp and just take off a little edge from that side, and then that will slot in lovely. There we are, and as promised, here is the sketch that you might need if you want to take the measurements. Get ready to take a screenshot in 3, 2, 1. There you go. So on the left hand side of the screen you can see the cut list that we went through on the face, and on the right hand side is the whether it's a straight cut or an angled cut like the one for the roof and the back plate. Now you can also adapt that design a little bit, so we've made one with the hole in the front. You can also do one where it's more like a letterbox in there as well. This will give you different types of birds prefer different types of openings. Apparently I'm not a bird expert, but that's what I'm told. So if you build a couple of different types like that, you might get a variation in your garden or wherever it is that they're going into. Now these birdhouses are going into a local woodland, and they've been commissioned, and they're going to have their names of the sponsors of that bird box are going to be put onto the bottom of the box. Once I've done that, we're also going to drill some holes in the bottom here as well, just to make sure that it's never going to flood inside, just in case some driving rain goes through that front hole. If you would like more weekend projects or helpful hints and tips about woodworking, especially with hand tools, then make sure you click the subscription and ring that little notification bell thingamajig. And until next time, sharpen your tools, and I'll see you soon. God bless.